So I like this one, and I give pause for with reason. And when I smell perfume, I try to find reference points in order to understand it, to appreciate the context in which it belongs. But with this fragrance, that fails me, and that's the point. And for that reason, it's truly innovative and creatively daring. This is the most wonderful, one of the more innovative perfumes released in a long time. It's MEM by Bogue by Antonio Gardoni. And I think this is fascinating. On a personal level, lavender is one of my favorite notes, and I love the classic perfume Jiki by Guerlain, made in 1889. Now, I say this because when Gardoni made this perfume, he deliberately tried to move away from Jiki as being the archetype of this style, and I think he succeeded. MEM is the Phoenician word for water, and I think that's important to know because water is the fluid substance. Water is the thing that moves. It's always in flux, and the classic Greek philosopher Heraclitus talked about the river that's never the same through time. MEM is a perfume that every time you wear it, you will get something different out of it. It's a lavender perfume that moves away from history and just explores all the facets you didn't expect it to give you. And so he uses 4 different extracts of lavender, so absolutes and essences and things like that, and really good high quality. And then he just contrasts it, and he blends it, and he blurs it, and he just adds everything to it. So instead of lavender being your minty, roasted, sun-drenched sort of perfume, this becomes the scent of wild mushrooms, of industrial smells, duct tape, fertile earth. It's the sky, it's asteroids, it's ylang-ylang and animalic notes. It's just the most amazing lavender. And the way that one should conceptualize this is take every impression and then like a conductor, you plot them and you make them progress from one another. And what I mean by that is everything is given and everything is well extrapolated in this fragrance. It is complete mastery within the world of perfumery, and it is wonderful. It might not be of this world with this fragrance. Lavender tends to evoke bucolic memories of the countryside, Provence, Dalesford, wherever you want to go. Not here. We're in some fantasy land of lavender that as you don't know it. I think of rugged highlands. I think of in the Rhone Valley in France, there's the smell of garrigue, which is the smell of sort of the earth and the dying vegetation as that sort of ferments on the earth. And so I think if we're going on a holiday, we're going to the Rhone Valley with this one. I want to go for something mythic, a unicorn, a narwhal, a hippogriff, but I'm not going to go there. This person keeps reptiles. This is a cold-blooded lavender. It's warm, but it's cold-blooded ultimately. So it's a reptile. It's funny because there's so much going on here. I mean, there's even a candy-like sweetness. So, I mean, if this person makes candy during the day, I wouldn't be surprised. They could work in a florist. I think working in a florist is a possibility, working in a nursery. Again, it's one of those fragrances that doesn't reduce itself to occupation. This is creative perfumery. This is someone who is a creative and whose will to live is defined by the will to create. Not an easy question either. It has both qualities. It demonstrates them well. Because there's so many naturals in this perfume, it almost naturally comes across as extroverted. But really, I think lavender has always been the quiet, meditative note along with incense. So I think ultimately this is an introvert of a perfume. Well, the one thing that the French do well, that I don't think many others have tacked onto, is cordials. I remember having the most amazing lavender cordial a few years ago, and a violet cordial as well. I remember thinking, I have no reference for the taste of lavender because I just don't eat it or drink it. So this is An earthy, it's somehow a blend of a Negroni or a Boulevardier, which is the whiskey version of a Negroni, but somehow you're amping up the lavender note. Maybe you're adding more of a very unique, bitter, sweet vermouth or something like that. So I'm going to say something like a botanic, super, super earthy, sweet vermouth, fortified wine. So by nature of Antonio Gardoni, he uses a lot of naturals and he anchors them with some synthetics and some animalic notes to give it an anchoring. So I would say this one rises and soars, and you can experience and smell the changes in this perfume, and then it sort of sits at a nice level. So I'd say the longevity for this one is an 8. Great sillage, depends on how you wear it. I like it close, so I do a little bit sort of close to me as opposed to for the world, but a few sprays and you're definitely projecting, so I'd say 9 or 10. Like his and Gardoni's other great work, I think it depends on how you value things. This is a perfumer, an independent perfumer, who's using some of the most sort of concentrated amounts of natural ingredients in his formula. And just like wine, naturals very much a lot of variables around it, seasonal dependency and all these sort of things. So depending on how you see it, I think if you approach buying this like you're buying a bottle of a great wine, the value reveals itself in that way. For me, I think to pay a price for an experience of a perfume that completely is beyond what is normal is well worth it. On my sort of assessment, it's a 7 in terms of its value. This is postmodern perfume. This is we're not touching a gender here. It's for everyone. It's a pure expression of potent smell. So completely a lavender for anyone.